Kimberly.
Be right back.
Hi,
Connect to
Carrie.
you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Hey, Kimberly.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Christia. Hi, Kristen.
Hey.
Like we've acquired some new furniture in here.
Yeah, I think
Wooden sofa.
they've added some assets to Spatial. I think they've gained a lot of new users and have a lot more user-generated content now that they're kind of one of the... I mean, they were, I guess, one of the primary, at least business-focused metaverse platforms, but since Altspace went away, I know a lot of, other companies like that were using their platform kind of have now shifted to Spatial. So I've seen that with the
For
Tri
business
Universe.
purposes, meetings, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the application. Like Tri Universe, the Development Academy. They have Unity classes and VR development classes. They used to use Altspace as their teaching platform, and now they, I believe, now they use Spatial.
Interesting.
Yeah, metaversities and groups that host educational VR events, much like ours.
Yeah, I know. We're an event.
Yeah, a small one, but small but mighty.
Small. Oh, the sandwich is in the fire. I was like, what is it? Why is there an olive in the fire? The sandwich is roasting. Roasted sandwiches.
Hi, everyone.
Kristen. Hi, y'all.
Hi.
Is that
Hi.
how you say your name?
I'm new to the group. Yeah, well, my name is Giovanna, but you can call me Jovi.
Yovi?
Yes.
All right. Well, welcome.
Hi, Yovi. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks.
Tuvik says welcome too.
Yovi posted a link to her portfolio in the Slack channel. I really recommend everyone checks it out. It's really awesome.
Thank you.
Very cool. Thanks for doing that and sharing. I'll definitely take a look. I think it's great for us to put our work out there and inspire each other, right?
Absolutely.
See what's going on and what people are learning, and yeah, that's the whole point of this group is to learn and grow together. And today we were going to look at some no-code development tools. Did you guys have anything that you want to start with? Are there any tools that you're particularly interested in? Or are there ones you've played around with that you found kind of fun to use or particularly helpful? I've played a little bit with Scenario VR. Has anybody taken a look into that one?
I did like the demos in Scenario VR, just to kind of see what it was like. I didn't get super far, but I thought that was an interesting platform. I mean, if I could afford it, I would get that. But can't have that and storyline. Nobody's demanding Scenario VR.
Yeah.
So. But it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I think the cost for an individual user, yeah, that's something I kind of agree. I feel like I would at least like to see for individual users, like the ability to maybe have an extended trial. I feel like 30 days is when you're when you have your day job, it's hard to spend enough time with a tool in 30 days to really get a good feel of all of its capabilities. So I think that's something that they could do better, is maybe adjusting their options, or maybe even a subscription fee that's different for individuals as opposed to businesses. Because I think it's, last time I checked, it was like around $110 a month or something per user.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, you get a lot of extra assets, but that's not really enough to make me spend that much money just to experiment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, I was going to mention there was a time where I was using Zappar a lot. I haven't really dabbled in AR very much recently, but that's a pretty cool tool. And I personally felt like as a beginner, I was able to pick it up pretty fast.
Yeah, I actually played around with it today a little bit. Just to kind of see if, just to have something to share. But it definitely, you got to spend a little bit of time with it, but it is pretty quick to pick it up. And I know the last time I looked at Zappar was, I think, maybe more than a year ago, and embarrassingly. But it seems like there's a lot more functionality.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it was last year or the year before, they've been putting a lot of effort into, like, I think it's called like a Zapbox or something. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I know that they've been releasing a lot more products lately.
Do you know can you describe what the Zapbox is?
Let me check it. Yes. Oh, Zapbox. It says mixed reality for everyone. Let's see. Affordable mixed reality. Anything you use your phone. And it comes with controllers. It says sign up for updates. So,
is it a physical product that you're buying, or is it just a software extension?
I do believe it is physical. It looks like it's some like head mount with, it's like, yeah, there is some like hardware with it. It says it's probably not available yet because it says sign up for updates. So yeah, maybe I just like saw it in the news. It didn't realize that it wasn't out yet. Something to keep an eye on though.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, I froze. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I was trying to share my screen and I'm all not responding. Oh no.
You kind of sound like a robot.
Oh. Yeah, I might lose you guys. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. We spoke with Mike from Near Life again, and he was able to record a demo for us, so in case we wanted to see inside the tool. Because, I think I mentioned last week, for those of you who were in community to do so. and he, because of the time difference, wasn't able to attend this call in real time, and so was gracious enough to record a video demo for us that we can watch.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. Would that be good to do now? What do you think, Tristia?
Sure. I think we can take a look at it, and I've got some other stuff queued up whenever we're done with that. And I pulled up Zapper and Scenario VR and some stuff just to have up for us to look at if we want to tinker. But let's check out the Near Life demo. I'm really curious. I haven't seen a lot about the tool. I know I checked out his website a little bit, but yeah, I'm curious to see how it all works.
Okay, cool. Let me see. I really hope that this also shares audio. If it doesn't, please do let me know, and I can try and find a way around that.
Hello, everyone. Apologies that I can't be there in person. I just wanted to thank, actually, Kristen for...
He is speaking. Can you hear that?
Yeah,
we can hear it.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Inviting me to speak to your group of XR in learning. But what she'd asked me to do, and what I offered to do, was provide a very, very short introduction and overview of what we do here at Near Life. And we'd love to actually collaborate with the group and do more things. So time zones this time didn't permit, but I'm very happy to do any kind of follow-up discussions or calls, or just get in touch if you want to know more information. But we'd love to find a way to work together and kind of push the boundaries in this space. So just a very quick intro for who we are. Near Life. We have been going a number of years. I mean, we originally were established in 2015, so we're like over 7 or 8 years old now. But we started out actually in the space of learning design, very much about creating interactive content. We tended to do it on a project-by-project basis. And we kind of consolidated our learning through going through the projects we've made and how we created and designed interactive content, primarily in 2D video. And we launched our platform that we now kind of share with people. That was a product, if you like, of our own learning in this space. So we launched that back in 2020, and then we added the VR capabilities, or the XR capabilities, back in 2021. So just over 18 months to 2 years, we've been offering that service, and we've seen it kind of used in different ways. So that's who we are. We still do get involved in projects. We love to collaborate, but primarily we're a software-first company that offers our authoring tool to people who are looking to create interactive and immersive content. So just to say some of the people we work with, our World Health Organization, actually that's a VR project, one of the case studies that I will briefly share with you today. But we've got universities like the University of the Philippines, pharmaceutical companies like AbbVie, retailers, Asda, big UK retailer who currently, well, until recently were owned by Walmart, but I think they've changed hands. And then the NHS, a lot of healthcare simulation, that seems to be a popular use case for us. So anyway, that's really just a very, very short bit of a background on who we are, what we do. The main thing I wanted to show you is the platform, just so you can kind of understand it. Funnily enough, we literally, next week, we're at Learning Technologies in London, and we are going to launch a new updated version of the platform. So I'm going to show you that today. I might just jump into the old live environment just to kind of show you some projects, but this is basically the new version, which you'll be seeing here. So it's a cloud-based authoring tool. People have an account, they sign in, they kind of can manage their access, manage their content via projects here. It's just a way of coordinating things. But if I just go here to create a new scenario, you can see here this is related to It's just the test function. And this sort of setup page is also the traditional approach, but I'm going to put here example for XR group. And then you've got various options when you set things up. I'm not obviously going to do a full demo, but you've got things like countdown, because it can work on a default basis where it will, particularly working in kind of a narrative context, it will carry on if you don't make a choice in time, and you've got past score, you can allow whether people replay it or not, and you can even capture name and email, but most people, I'd say 90% of our users are in learning education, and they integrate within a learning management system. But basically, it's an interactive content tool, so you can, before you have any content, you can kind of design. I should say, actually, that the principle, it works on the basis of, well, it works the same way whether you're using VR, 180, 360 video or images, or whether it's 2D. The design is the same way. So I can go here in my Node 1. If I select that, I'll go to settings. So I can do my notes here. I'm going to call it opening scene. What will you do? You kind of present it with some options, and it will default. You can see they're black at the moment. It defaults to like a basic slide function, and I can change the color. But this is because we've not yet got any media. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add here. I'm going to just add a text overlay, and I'm going to call this choice option. I'm going to just put here, what will you do? I could make this interactive, actually. Again, you know, before we've got any media here, it's just a basic slide function, but I'm basically showing you how you can kind of storyboard. What if I do, if I go back here to add, a common use case would be to add buttons. So you could change the font, color, size, and again, this works whether it's kind of 2D or VR. I'm just going to put here, I'm just going to put choose yes, and I'm going to select from the graph where I want this to go. So I'm going to send this here if I choose yes, and then I'm going to add a new button. I'm going to put here choose no, and I'm going to go select from the graph here, this, and then if we close this, you can see we're already building out the diagram. I can move these around if I want. So you can kind of storyboard very simply. You can play through your scenario even before you've built in the media and all the rest. I could still just basically play this through. It's just going to go to a blank screen, but that's the basic premise. So you get very basic branching with kind of buttons, but you can also add things like hotspots, and you can add, you can add overlay images. So what I would do is I would upload my media here. So if I just to pick a random clip here, oh, that's a VR, might take a moment to load. If I just pick this random clip, I'd upload it, and then once this is in the system, just give it a moment. Once this is inside the platform, you'd have your media assets. Again, it could be video, standard 2D like this one. It could be 180, it could be 360. But you'd have your kind of your media library here, and you can drag and drop. So you're creating your kind of your game diagram, and these nodes effectively are placeholders for your media file. So if I just skip out here very quickly, again, because I don't want to take up your whole meeting, it was just to give you a quick overview of what we do. Like just to show you the hotspots, there's one here. It's 2D again, so I do apologize, but this one is like popular. A lot of our users like to use Beyond because it's like a simple animation tool, so we see that as quite a common use case. This one, for example, it's just 2D animations, but it's using hotspot areas, so these parts of the screen are interactive. Now you can use you could use this again, whether it's 360 video or 180 video. You're just making those parts of the screen interactive, and you can have kind of pop-up information. I should say as well, without getting into great detail at the moment, you can also track these things. There's a deeper layer of gamification that allows you to create more complex games or simulations even, where you can track achievements and you can say, oh, this has been interacted with, and it can carry across. Doesn't just need to be choice leads to providing pop-up information or choice leads to outcome, but you can create kind of rules. So it can be quite powerful, but I'm just really giving you a quick overview here. So here you can see what I'm going to do is I've just got this interactive scene, so I'm clicking on this. He's not wearing his hard hat. And then I think there's one where you're a nurse. Again, you could imagine a scene like this in VR or XR, where you're kind of picking the person you're going to treat. So in this case, he doesn't look well. We click on this guy. And I'll let this play through because you've also got the ability, because it's tracking interactions, to get these kind of analytics where it tracks and understands the choices that people make and give contextualized feedback. So just very quickly, a VR example, I mentioned the World Health Organization. So they did again, common use case, straightforward prevention scenario, like a narrative-based interactive, I suppose you could call it game, but narrative-based exercise or simulation, where you're kind of a nurse or a doctor going into a kind of an environment where there's maybe social unrest. It's you know, you're being posted overseas for the first time, so it's kind of based around security and making choices. And you can see here that this one's using button options, but I could add interactive hotspots. I could make this guy interactive, and you can show or not show these hotspot areas. You can show and hover. It's flexible, but the way it works, just to because you guys are obviously in this space, the way it works is built on the technology that's based around WebXR. So when you publish, whether it's 2D or VR, you share and you can embed. So you can embed on any website, or you can kind of embed as a SCORM object within a LMS, so you can do an LTI integration, like we were a kind of Moodle certified integration partner, but the LTI also works with things like Tatara, Canvas, Blackboard. Quite a few of the education sites use LTI. So, and you can play it. So you can play it through a headset. You could play it with your controller, like if you've got a Meta headset, but you could also launch it directly from your smartphone. And in this case, I'm playing it on my laptop. If I go to the full VR screen, you can see the options come up. I can just click on this. So if I had my controller with my headset, I'd choose this. But if I'm on my smartphone, I've just got it in a simple cardboard or plastic headset. I can just look at these options using gaze input. So again, I won't show you the whole thing here. You can see this is like a 180, because we kind of you know, we talk to people we work with and suggest that if it's narrative based, it's story based, you're trying to direct the action. 180 works well because it kind of keeps you concentrated on what you're supposed to look at, and you don't need the other half of the sphere. Whereas it's the my options come up, so I'm making this choice. But if it's, let's say, more of an explorer mode, like a museum tour or a site tour, then 360 obviously works well because you're kind of looking at the full space. So we see both kind of use cases. This is a narrative game where you're making the choice and you've got these different outcomes. And it's quite straightforward. It's just choice leading to outcome, but still, you know, it's got that branching narrative design. But it's quick and simple to create. And again, you drag and drop. This is the old interface, the current live one, but this is obviously the new one. It's slightly more dynamic in terms of your dragging and dropping. So, so those are the basics. You know, I'm very, very happy to go through things in more detail, or talk to people about project ideas and how we could collaborate, maybe look at some research. Any ideas people have, we're definitely open to discuss. We're really kind of interested in this space. I'd say still the majority of our users are probably using primarily 2D video. Some even just use slides, static images, but we, you know, we're really keen to see expanded use in the VR space and be an active player in supporting that ease of creation. That's really where we sit in that we try and make VR and XR content affordable, accessible, shareable at scale without some of the kind of barriers. So it does work primarily video, so there's some content creation, but it is really designed to make it easy. So these are my contact details. You can find me on LinkedIn. Kristen, I will follow up to see how things have gone. I do hope your rest of your meeting goes well, and apologies if this has run over slightly, and if you have a chance to watch it. Thanks for your patience, and I hope to be in touch soon. Okay, take care.
Well, that was a pretty
thorough demo.
Yeah, yeah. For the
it was
time
funny
they put it in.
Kristen, your avatar was talking in a British male accent, so it was pretty funny.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Okay, so I wasn't sure if it would play system audio, but from hearing that, it sounds like it was playing from mic audio, and it's really funny to hear that I was a British man.
You were momentarily.
Yeah, tell Mike thank you for sharing that with us. That was definitely a really good, quick overview. And I appreciate that it's not just a 360 development tool. Like, you can also use it as for development of just, you know, traditional 16:9 or really anything, whatever you have, you know, whatever starting media or image or starting point you have, which, you know, you can almost kind of mimic like a slide-based tool by linking these different media bases together, even if your base is just, you know, like a white box with a little border on it that, you know, you've saved as an image file, and then you upload that as your base media and make adjustments to it. So I appreciate the flexibility of the tool that, you know, you can use. Even 180 media, what he mentioned about that, I thought was pretty insightful too, keeping people kind of focused on the target area.
And he said the two different cases, the narrative being 180 and the exploring being 360. That was really good. I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you need it with Vyond, though. Kimberly, you use Vyond a lot.
Yeah,
why would you need?
In other words, you can because similar to Storyline, this is kind of taking the place of Storyline as the glue that can add interactivity to traditional video. So, I mean, with Storyline, that's what I currently use as my platform to be able to add buttons and decision branching and stuff like that. But Near Life is similar in that you can add these buttons and branching. So you could take a linear video that you created in Vyond, that's animation, chop it up, and then put it into those slides, similar to Storyline, and create an interactive experience. And one of the things that I think is really good about the Near Life, the way that he's got that set, you saw that little diagram where he was like creating nodes and moving them around, kind of like twine. And that's unique. I mean, I actually have not seen to date any other tools that do that, where you can manipulate the nodes and experiment with, you know, how you're setting it up with that drag and drop interface that actually translates into interactivity. So I don't know if Scenario VR has that capability, but Storyline does not actually do it like that. So I mean, it's not quite so drag and drop-ish as you know, you set everything up and then you can see the structure. So that's one of the things that I thought was really powerful about this new tool.
So Vyond doesn't have, I don't use Vyond. It doesn't have interactivity?
No interactivity at all. They just, I think they're choosing not to do it because they know that all these other products are coming out that can add it. Mm-hmm. So they expect if you want interactivity, you'll have Vyond, plus you'll have some other tool like Storyline, Camtasia, or...
Yeah, Vyond,
that's what...
much like Powtoon or Animaker, or there's a couple of other ones too that are like almost like motion graphics tools. I mean, even Canva really can be used in a similar fashion to like, you know, put together a little animated video. Puppy. To put together a little animated video. And then, yeah, what a lot of people will do will like Kimberly is put those videos in Storyline or another tool. And yeah, I can see, you know, Near Life being an option for step in the fire there. For like adding interactivity to those other media pieces, and given that you have the option of, you know, 360 or 180 or just traditional, you know, flat 2D media, that's awesome. But you, Terry, you mentioned, or no, sorry, I think Kimberly, you said something about like seeing the nodes and in that like drag and drop interface. Kristen, does Copilot have something like that, or was that one of Tailspin's other tools?
Yeah, we do. Our interface is kind of like that as well, where you kind of create these nodes and connect them together, and you can kind of mix and match to create different pathways. But I definitely feel like seeing that structure and like being able to see the pathways allows us to conceptualize it a lot easier than if we were, because I know that I've tried to like storyboard a little bit and create these like interactive experiences using PowerPoint, and honestly, like jumping from like slide to slide and like doing it in a kind of a more linear fashion, because it's like visually linear, is actually quite hard for me.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate the branching illustration of the entire experience.
And that looked very easy. I mean, he was doing it in front of us, and I mean, you know, a lot of times people make things look really easy, but they're not. But that, I mean, he just moved it and
it
uploaded
looks like more
it.
intuitive.
Yeah, like Twine, but Twine doesn't have video. I mean, you can't put it in there live.
Yeah, and also I think Storyline 360 does not allow you to import 360 video. They only allow 360 photos. So that's
not yet.
So this platform has more capability.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that that was a limitation of Storyline.
Yeah, at least right now. You know, people are calling
Captivate
for them to add 360. Yeah, Captivate can do it.
Captivate has it.
Is Captivate up and running with their new thing?
Well, I just have the old one, but
okay.
it's so much harder to use than Storyline that it's not worth it.
Captivate, so that's why I'm not up on it.
I wish they would come out with a new one that they've talked about for how many years? Well, my Captivate is 2019. So.
Oh, mine is too.
Yeah, they have a new one that they keep on saying they're going to release, but I don't know if it's actually been released yet. That's supposed to be like really some.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Well, I don't know if we are open to or want to, but if anyone is curious or wants to kind of trial Near Life, feel free to let us know, and we can reach out to Mike, or you can reach out to Mike, and we can, you know, collaborate to try and get you access.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Big thank you to Mike for sharing that, and Kristen for organizing. That was really cool to see. It's almost like different features of different tools that we've seen, but in a different configuration that allows a little bit of freedom. So that's really cool. I do have some things. My touchpad is really sensitive right now. For Scenario VR, or Zapper. Do you guys want to see any one of those in particular? Does anybody have a preference or questions about either of those tools?
I've never heard of Zapper until today.
Yeah.
Either is fine.
So Zapper is
Sounds like you get rid of flies with it.
yeah, it does kind of sound that way. Let's see if I can pull this up. Okay. Okay, so this is Zapper. Something in my way over here. Zapper's website, so it's zap.works .com. Or sorry, just zap.works, I think. And they have a few different products, and I think Zapbox, or that might be maybe the mobile app, I'm not sure. But then they have Studio and Designer. Honestly, I'm still a little bit fuzzy on which is which, but I pulled up something from the Designer Zapworks, and I'm gonna go back to like my main projects thing here. I think you get four projects with the free version, so if you want to go in there and just play around and get a sense of how it works. When you start a new project, let me see if it'll, I think it's gonna bring me right back into when I started, but we'll see if, okay, so I've already set it to like track an image, but I want to show you guys what, let's see. If you start a new project, I'm going to select Designer, and you choose whether you want the trigger to be a QR code or a deep link, or a Zap code, which you need the Zapper, the user needs the Zapper app to use. So I'm just going to choose QR code because that's maybe the easiest right now. A link is, I suppose, just as easy. And then you can kind of edit up your code here. If you open the Designer, it should ask me right, whether I want world tracking, so you can place your AR content on a flat surface, so it tracks that flat surface, on a specific image, which is what I used in that other demo. I used the image of my simulations TD at Work guide, and then because I wanted something I actually had like a physical image of to see if I could make it work that way, but I haven't gotten that far yet. And then face tracking, so you can make your own filters, which is really, really cool. I thought that was kind of neat. And I did actually find, when I was looking for assets to play around with for this, I was looking on Sketchfab, and I found this little cartoony dog model. I wanted to play with something that was animated. So you can find 3D models here. If you go to downloadable, that means free on Sketchfab, so any ones that are marked downloadable are free, or should be at least. That was confusing to me, so I thought I'd share that little tidbit. But I did actually find in here, if you look for the right thing, you can find like headwear, like hats or sunglasses or some crazy stuff. So you can actually maybe put together your own like little face tracking thing too. And I didn't really check that one out yet, so I'm gonna, since we're starting a new project. So there's your base face, that it uses, you know, to kind of track where to place things. And I think you can, you know, you can also just add some text. Let's just drag it over here. And you know what? Anybody who's a little bit in the face there, so it's gonna not quite appear quite right. Anybody read Snow Crash? Oh, here.
Why did you ask that? I've started it, but I haven't finished it. I haven't got to the end.
I was trying to edit the text here. Now it won't let me. There we go. I don't know if that reference will make sense. But there's a character that has that tattooed on his face. And then you can like change the size over here. I'm going to lock it so that it all goes together. That doesn't really look like this size is... Yeah, I'm not really sure what I'm doing right now. I thought I was changing the size of it. That worked for one of the other models that I used, so I'm not really... I have my attachment point as the left eyebrow. So there's, you know, there's definitely a little bit of a learning curve here. But, oh, that's not what I want. But you can see that, you know, there is some fun stuff you can do. You know, you can browse the existing 3D media library. Maybe I'm gonna look at the hat. Maybe there's a hat. Oh, there's the pirate hat. Go figure. I probably want to move that up a bit, and so forth. And then when you know, publish your project, if any of you guys see that up, let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's where you want to adjust your text. That makes a little bit more sense. Okay. Yep, that should be about right. We'll republish that again and try preview. So as soon as I find my phone, if you guys want to give it a shot, is that QR code big enough to, if you know, if you're in your headset, that might be a little bit challenging, but for those of you on your desktop, I'll give you a second. If you want to try it out, I'm going to test it out too. Okay. And it does go to like the Zapper screen and ask you to launch it. But it's working for me. I'm going to take a screenshot and send it to you guys.
Me too. Very cool.
So I'll put that in there later in Slack, and just grab a little screenshot of that. But yeah, that was, I mean, pretty quick for, you know, nothing fancy. But you can put buttons in there that have different functions. If I go back to the other one that I did, back in projects, and I didn't title either of them, so, you know, be sure to do that so you know which one is which. I think this is the one I made first, so we'll try that. Yeah, and I put my little LinkedIn button there, and when I preview this one, it should play a little dog animation. Let's see. Which, yeah, and it's working for me. And if I tap the dog, he scratches his little ear. If I tap the LinkedIn button, it takes me right to my LinkedIn. Pretty neat stuff, considering, you know, it only took a couple of minutes. There's this YouTube video I found that was a tutorial on how to do a treasure hunt using face, world, and image tracking, so using all three features, I guess, which seems like it might be kind of a fun little like interactive experiences. So if you guys are interested in that, you can go to their YouTube channel. That's Zapper. And they have a whole playlist on Learn to Build AR with Zapworks. And yeah, there's all sorts of stuff you can do. You know, if you can build analytics into it for training. I'm not sure like the extent of the capability there, but if you think that you have a use case, you know, for training, I think it's definitely worth exploring the capabilities just to, you know when the right use case comes along, I guess. Is there anything anybody wanted to see? Do you want me to, is there any of these, it does come up with this connecting to server thing quite a lot. And that might be because of one of the Chrome extensions I have installed. But just know that, like, you know, you need some, you need good internet connectivity, which I'm struggling with today, I guess. But yeah, you can drag your project around. But did anybody want me to explore any of these other options, or?
Trisha, can you just describe what are some L&D like use cases that you're familiar with for Zapper?
So especially with QR code scanning, I am seeing more and more businesses at least opening up to the idea of and some of them actually requesting materials with QR codes for scanning for mobile devices, but more in the form of like linking out to particular material. I think that there's, unfortunately, you know, the lack of education around it and the lack of practical examples out there, because we see these like funky, you know, AR filters on TikTok, and it seems silly, and it seems like a game, and it seems like it's for kids. And, you know, using the animated dog example, you know, it certainly doesn't like, you know, kind of, I guess, reinforces that. But I think that, you know, we're trying to pitch creative solutions is always a challenge. And things that are outside of the box are kind of scary and risky to a lot of businesses. And that's pretty unfortunate, I think, because that's how we become innovative, right? That's how we test out new things, and we find out what works, and we make things better by experimenting. And I guess that's where I encourage you guys to think about, you know, where can we experiment, and where can we push the limits, and it's tough. You know, I feel like 9 out of the 10 times that I propose a unique and creative solution to something, you know, I have to compromise it back down quite a ways, and maybe even more than 9 times out of 10. But you know, it's all about fighting the good fight, right? Not taking we've always done it this way as an excuse, as an answer, you know, pushing back. But that didn't really answer your question, so I'll get back to it. And
I was just wondering if you had any off the top of your head. But the way that you access this is all through a phone, right? A smartphone. It doesn't require any VR headset or any of those things. Right?
Correct. Yeah. This is just using, you know, the QR code scanner or even a browser link, using typically mobile devices, but being and so there's twofold. There's you know, businesses that are completely fine with that, with employees using mobile devices to access content. There's some businesses where you know, certain labor laws make that a really big issue, and that's a lot of what I've run into with the type of client base that I tend to work with for Evolve. But some of the use cases that I see are like, you know, even things as simple as like, hey, everybody's complaining that, you know, the copier constantly gets jammed and nobody knows what to do about it. And I could see building out in something like this, like a QR code activated simulator, a QR code activated activity. Maybe just the QR code is printed on a sticker that's placed on a copier, and you know, copier keeps jamming, nobody knows what to do about it. They scan the, you know, if you're having an issue with the copier, scan this QR code. You know, user scans the QR code and is maybe taken to a little, like, you know, now like a experience with, or you know, they see the copier through their camera, right? And maybe some pop-ups appear like, have you tried, you know, pulling out the paper tray, and, you know, an arrow pointing to maybe where that would be in relation to where, like, what it's tracking. If you set it to track maybe even a picture of the copier, and it can register, like, you know, stand here. And, you know, maybe then, you know, there's a button that says, I've done that. And so that kind of goes away and something else pops up like, are you still having a problem? Yes or no? You know, are you, like, did you try maybe option 2 to help fix this? Did you see if there was paper jammed up in behind the tray? Or, you know, I think with the interactivity here with the buttons and the actions, you may be able to kind of link things that way. I haven't experimented with it to that extent, but I think it's possible. I think I've seen people do similar things. So even for equipment, you know, the tracking is probably still a little bit early. I think it's still early in that, like, we're still early in that technological phase, I guess, that maybe the tracking might not be good enough for, like, really serious heavy duty equipment training, but maybe it is. You know, maybe we're really, really close to that. I'm not really sure. You know, I need to test around and play with the limits of how it tracks. But yeah, I don't know, the facial tracking stuff, I feel like it's kind of like little fun and foofy, but maybe there's some, like, I don't know, team building kind of stuff, or like onboarding type, you know, oh, you've finished, you know, you've completed this course, like, now, you know, take your picture with your company graduation hat and post it on our Slack network or something. You know, that could be kind of fun.
Yeah. So currently it allows you to track to a flat, like you can, when it says real world mapping, that means a flat surface, like a tabletop, right? Not like a map onto your copier machine.
Correct. Yeah,
right?
like it, yeah, it's looking for, it wants you to first identify a flat surface with your device. And then that's where it places the projection.
Yeah, that's interesting though.
Yeah, let's look at those options again. I thought that was really interesting. Took me a second.
Yeah, I can share one use case that I had used AR for was to create a gallery walk. So the company I worked for prior to Tailspin, we had a retreat, and one of the sessions was teaching the rest of the company about the efficacy study that we were conducting, and it created. There were pictures of the different sites that we were conducting the study at, and had little Zappar QR codes at the very sort of bottom right that people could scan as they were walking and taking a look at the different artifacts that were on the wall to kind of learn more, and would even link to there were links to videos that you could actually just watch in real time that were kind of just floating in space, but it seemed a little bit more engaging. It was a very elementary, I'd say, implementation of Zappar, but it has Zappar as a tool. It has a lot of sort of different templates that make it pretty easy to kind of pick and choose. I'd say someone, because before picking up Zappar, I had absolutely no experience of using augmented reality before, and I felt like it was a pretty good introductory thing, software to use and just create these fun, engaging experiences for folks. To also build on the equipment use case that Tricia was mentioning, I know Betty Danowitz, she always sort of, I heard her talk about this example once before, and she had created she partnered with her local gym to create Zappar codes and put them on each of the machines so that folks could learn about how to use the machine properly, or adjust different things on the machine to their liking. And I thought that was a really cool just-in-time way to use AR.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's pretty similar to how I've seen some of our clients request materials is making a video accessible, but it is kind of neat. You have the option of sending them straight to the video to watch, or you can have it kind of laid over what they're seeing, so that they're seeing that video right next to the equipment. They kind of have to look at them together, so I think there's value. They were talking more slicers and like vegetable slicers and meat slicers and that kind of equipment, but but yeah I think, it still helps to keep the frame of reference together, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I am getting a newsletter. I think it's from Zappar, that has the highlight, I guess, project highlights. They have kind of project competitions or something, much like the eLearning Heroes challenges, kind of something like that, I think. Or maybe it's just companies that are submitting their Zappar projects for recognition. I'm not sure, but there is they send out a monthly or a quarterly best of newsletter type thing.
Oh.
I will dig up in my email and see what I can find, and see if there's a web version of that, or if I can share that distribution list somehow with you guys on Slack, because I did see some cool ones there, but the details are escaping me because it was quite a long time ago. I think it goes to my other folder that I don't always check. But too many newsletters and not enough time. Struggle I'm sure you guys are familiar with.
Now it's too many tools and not enough time. These are so
Seriously.
exciting.
Seriously. But yeah, you know, it's part of the job to stay up to date on what's out there, right? You got to know about it to be able to offer it as a solution.
They do so much more. I mean, with every month that passes, they can just do so much more.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah. So speaking of which, what would you guys like to see from a future meetup? You know, I know AI has been a big buzz. There's probably some things we could talk about. But has there been anything else that you guys are curious about or want to talk about in a meetup?
Yeah, it's not fair.
Don't all start at once.
Just a heads up that our next meetup is Wednesday, May 31st. Last day of May.
Okay.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining, and yeah, I hope that was helpful. We'll put some links and a little recap in the Slack, and I'll post the recording when it's up. And yeah, thank you guys as always.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for getting it together. That was great. And thanks for asking that New Life guy to make that video. That was very interesting to see how it actually worked.
Yeah, thank you,
Of course.
Kristen. That was really cool.
See you next month.
Jay just mentioned, Tristia, just before we go, his mic isn't working, but let's refer back to that list that we made in January and figure out what we might want to talk about next month.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We should definitely revisit that. And I'm sure we have a few people to reach out to as well. But awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you, Jay, and Kristen, Terry, Kimberly, Yovi. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, hopefully see you guys next month.
Great.
Yeah,
Bye.
Have a great
seeing
one.
everyone.
See you all later.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.